Hello and welcome to the Delivering Value podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Kaplan. I'm stoked to be filming this. I've had this podcast idea in my head for like the last 3 years. And look, if you work in growth, sometimes you just got to send it, right? This is a core part of our operating system is to take action over perfection. This is one of those times I've had this idea in my head for a long, long time, waiting to get it perfect. And I'm excited just to let it rip a little bit here. So if you have listened to the Product-Led podcast, you may have heard my other show. It was called How I Got Here. And it was really a mini-series on the Product-Led podcast where I talked to people who led cross-functional growth teams about their career journeys into the growth space. And my goal was to surface that there isn't a traditional journey into the cross-functional world of growth, and that everybody had some cool and unique backstory that got them into this arena because the world of growth is still relatively new. And what I learned after talking to all these different people is that the thing that tied them together, the thing that they had in common, is they all had encountered challenges, adversity, and setbacks throughout their journey. And it kind of resonated with me because as someone who's led cross-functional growth teams at a couple different companies, I've encountered a ton of adversity in my career. And I thought it was me. I thought a lot of my SaaS heroes just didn't have that problem. I thought they knew some shit that I didn't know. I figured their career paths were a little bit more linear than mine, that maybe they batted like 1,000% and got all these promotions over time. And I thought it was just me that had fucked it up a whole bunch. And I thought it was me just who had made all these what seemed like stupid mistakes that led to me feeling like an imposter or that I wasn't worthy of the success that I had. And I felt worried and on edge, like people were going to find me out and that I was going to get fired all the time. And what I learned after talking to all these people is that anyone who has made it, so to speak, they've all felt this way at some point or another. They might even feel like this way today, right? On the outside looking in, we look at these people, we idolize them, some of our SaaS heroes, and we think, wow, that person has all the answers. I bet they never feel like this. And what I've learned is that a lot of them feel like this maybe all the time. And that the difference between us and our SaaS heroes isn't that they don't encounter adversity. They hit just the same amount of adversity as the rest of us, but they find ways to keep going. They find ways to use that adversity as motivation. They find ways to categorize in their brains these setbacks as learnings, and they find ways to course correct and continue on. It's the same things that would have stopped me in my career or made me to feel anxious or unworthy, or it might have caused me some work trauma that I might have brought job to job. They find ways to keep going. And so I'm stoked to make this show because I want to learn both about the challenges that people face in these roles, and I want to hear about the mental models and frameworks that my heroes use to keep going. And so that's the goal of the show, to talk to the world's most successful cross-functional SaaS growth team leads and to hear about the adversity they've encountered and how they find motivation to continue on. For anyone that doesn't know me, I'm Andrew. I have been in and around SaaS for the last 15 years. The first half of my career, I would have identified as a marketer. I started my career at a big ad agency called Digitas, doing ad campaigns for Disney, Aflac, Bank of America, your Fortune 500s. And then I landed at a marketing software company that was early stage at the time called HubSpot, which has obviously grown into a very large and successful marketing team and marketing software company. So the first half of my career as a marketer, and then the second half of my career in growth. So I worked at another marketing software company called Wistia, where I was fortunate to have started and scaled a cross-functional growth team. Started as a growth person, which is me, slowly scaled into a team of 3, and eventually kind of morphed on beyond that, where my team got to take on acquisition and new user onboarding, converting free users to paid, and pricing optimization, all kinds of stuff that I had no business in. I absolutely fell in love with the world of growth. And now, as of June 2021, I left my full-time gig as head of growth to start my own business. I'm a solopreneur, so it's just me. I run a one-person business called Delivering Value. It's the name of this podcast. It's the name of my business. And, I chose those words somewhat intentionally because delivering value describes both my approach to growth, which is less on growth hacks or shortcuts and more about understanding the foundational elements of growth, which are understanding people and what motivates them and what they find valuable, and then finding creative and interesting ways to deliver that value as quick as possible. And it also describes my approach as a coach. And as an advisor, which is what I do at Delivering Value, which is all about helping people grow their influence and deliver more value to their organizations by the work that they do. And a lot of my business is coaching people. I work with individuals who lead cross-functional growth teams that struggle to have the influence and the impact that they want. And a lot of them reach out to me with more or less the same challenges. They're feeling like, they're feeling lack of confidence. They're feeling like they're fucking it up. They're struggling to have the influence that they want. And they a lot of them blame themselves because they can't seem to figure it out on their own. And so after seeing this over and over and over, it prompted me to make this show, not just in addition to my own personal experiences, but now seeing it as a coach, I start to see the patterns. And that's really what prompted me to make this show. I felt compelled to do it. I've probably coached, as of this recording, which is March 1st, 2023, I've probably coached 36 different people who have worked on or around a growth team. And after seeing this pattern over and over, I just couldn't ignore it anymore. I thought that I needed to make this show to highlight folks who are a couple steps ahead of the rest of us, so that anyone who's maybe new in a leadership role, looking to grow into a leadership role, or even if you just work on a growth team and you're interested in what lies ahead, I thought I'd make this show to surface some of the challenges and tactics, frameworks, ideas to work through the adversity. So I'm going to be speaking with people who lead cross-functional growth teams. I might sprinkle in a few chats with other marketers and PMs who have like strong leadership views and strong leadership experience as well. In the first episode, I'm going to actually be sharing my deeper story about how I got into growth, some of the bumps and bruises and fuck ups that I've had along the way, and really basically my personal struggles and how I work through them. So that'll be in episode number 1, but I've got future episodes lined up with a whole bunch of people that I look up to in the growth space. I hope you'd like the show. I hope you reach out and let me know who I should interview and who I should have on as guests. And I hope that you subscribe. Check out the podcast. You can subscribe via email on my website, deliveringvalue.co. You can follow along on YouTube or on Spotify or wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. I hope you dig it.